Hi, this is part 2 of episode 2. I separated them because people who may not want to watch a Lightroom tutorial that aren't interested in photography or use Lightroom, because some people actually don't, apparently. I don't know why. But this is just a very basic import, my import settings. I usually don't stray from them too far unless something's real out of whack. Okay, this is quick Lightroom video. I figured I'd do something you've seen if you watched the first video, first vlog. This is the thumbnail for that video. I actually haven't chosen it yet. This is, I'm as surprised as you are. Okay, the first thing I do when I import is I have an import preset called Solid Color 2016 V2. And once these import, I will show you what exactly that does. Okay, that's a no. This is usually what I do, especially with selfies. I'm trying to be funny there, and I toned it down slightly by the last photo, but the selfie is with the Nikon D5100, and I do still love that camera just because I like flipping the screen so I can see what's going on if I'm taking a selfie. Otherwise, it's the D610 that you see in my hand. I would have freaked you out if I would have used that as a thumbnail. That's alright. Pretty sure I'm going to be ending up with the last one here. I don't know. By the time you're seeing this, you know. But I still don't know. I don't like the white balance on that. So if I use it, I'll fix it. Okay. I mean, we're talking about a thumbnail that's really small. I'm not usually happy about the eyes not being in focus, but this is just aight. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to use. Now let's talk about my import preset. It does absolutely nothing to my white balance. Okay, I leave it on as shot. Exposure 0, obviously. These are mostly minimal settings, just so I'm seeing close to what I saw on the back of the camera with the camera standard, which I usually use either that or neutral, and for video I use camera standard always. Contrast at 30, highlights at -50. That's an important one for me because I like to see it in the negative. That's just how I've always done it. Shadows +45 because it helps, especially, well, mainly with portraits. White -25, black -25, and I usually end up down a little farther once I fix everything else. Clarity at 20%. Sometimes I turn that off. Sometimes I absolutely crank it, but never in the negative, because if I want something sharp, it should be sharp. I don't use good lenses for no reason. Okay, vibrance 10, saturation 10. Sometimes I zero both of those out. No tone curve, no HSL, but I have, get down here in camera calibration on import. My camera standard is -10 on red primary because I just don't like what Nikon does to reds most of the time, or Canons for that matter. Nikon tends to give an inaccurate red, and Canon tends to blast the red. So probably -10 for both cameras. Detail, I do something with that. Sharpening 70%. radius 0.6, and that's very important to me because that is a real minimal. This picture before, it's actually sharp. You can see no added grain. And that's very important because if you go even to 1, I can't really tolerate it, but I don't know if you can even see this on the video. But the farther up you go, the weirder it looks to me. And I do pixel peep, even though you will probably, more than likely, in a lot of situations, people are seeing it this big on their phones, on tablets and stuff, maybe just a little bit bigger. I'm picky. I'm just picky about it. That's just me. Okay, now the white balance is definitely off on this, so what I'm gonna do is just, no, that's ugly. A lot of times Lightroom doesn't pick up, or maybe I'm just not clicking. There we go, 40/50. And Nikons also have a green tint. Even if you don't mess with it, you will always, especially skin tones, you will always notice. And then more towards magenta helps. Sometimes just 0 helps, depending on what your camera decided to do if you're using auto white balance. I try not to use auto white balance just because it creates more problems. I like to see the photos how I saw them when I shot them, so I don't want to see the wrong color of lighting. In this case, I do have a light bulb over here that is not daylight. That's pretty much it. That's a basic image here. The only thing I can complain about here is I don't like that. I use the onboard flash for that, and you know, that's what you expect when you slam your own face with the onboard flash straight on. So the only thing I would do to that is drop the clarity until that is less of an annoying, maybe even sharpness a little bit, till that is not necessarily a problem. See that? See it go away? Now that I see it go away, this one bothers me too. But that's for another video. That's stepping into a little bit of retouching. But that's pretty much it. I like this pretty much almost straight out of the camera. Okay, no, okay, making the blacks. Okay, yeah, that helped. Maybe bump the exposure a little bit. Okay, and that's pretty much it. And that's basically that was the 18 to 55 kit lens at 18. Actually, normally it looks better than this. I've never had a problem with that. I don't know why people complain about it. Although I do favor primes, and my favorite zoom is actually the 24 to 120 f4. I really like that. It's funny how it's sharp from 24 to 120. A lot of people don't realize that. They think it's a kit lens, and it's not. The only thing you struggle with is from 24 to 50, there's some heavy distortion, lens distortion. Nothing that can't be fixed by lens corrections right there, which, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do for this one. But otherwise, that's it. Sometimes you'll see me go real extreme in my image, but this is more of a documentary type picture, and I intended it to be slightly humorous and just, it's not really dead space if it's busy like that. But once you see, you know, my titling and stuff, you'll understand why I left the space around me and used the wide lens.
And that's it. So if you have any questions, drop me a comment, email, anywhere on social media, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you feel most comfortable asking a question. It's pretty straightforward, but I'm assuming I'll probably have questions as to why I do the settings on import the way I do. So I'll see you next time.